Well, it's December 31st. It's New Year's Eve, time for one more video. So I thought I'd jump in with some not particularly serious, a little bit jokey predictions for some watch brands in 2023. See you after the intro and we'll get into it. Hi, I'm Pete McConville. I like to overthink, overanalyze, and generally just get too wound up about watches. If that sounds like something you're interested in, like, subscribe, do all that sort of thing. I want to finish up 2022 by doing a bit of a prediction video. What do I think might happen, at least for some brands, in 2023? There are hundreds, literally, of brands out there. I've really just picked about 10 at kind of random because I think something interesting might happen, or these brands are so big that they kind of have to do something interesting. Okay, so the first is going to be Omega. My prediction for Omega is that 2023 is going to be the year of releasing random watches throughout the year with no apparent plan and no marketing support for those releases. The individual watches, whatever the hell they are, will be fantastic and we will think that they're great. But they won't make any sense. They won't feed into any larger corporate narrative. They'll follow no discernible roadmap. The catalogue will continue to get more and more confused and will be no closer to figuring out the brand identity of Omega at the end of 23 than we are at the beginning. Okay, so moving on to one of my favorite brands, Breitling. Breitling are going to continue to release brands that seem to be designed specifically to annoy previous Breitling fans, everyone who was into the brand pre-George Kearns. They're going to have some weird sizes that everyone thinks are too big or that they think are too small. They're going to continue to refuse to make a watch in what a lot of people say is the sweet spot of 38 to 40 millimeters. They'll offer different colors at different sizes, but never the same color at different sizes. And so people are going to spend all year whinging and saying, I would love to buy this watch in this color, but a different size. Or I want to buy this watch in this size, but in a different color. Getting serious for just 1 second on Breitling, I expect to see a new aerospace or a new watch in the professional line. I think that we're going to see something that's titanium, a case that's more complex, more casual than the existing model, something like the Endurance Pro Ironman that they released this year. And I've heard rumors that they're looking at an all-new in-house or manufacture quartz movement for that watch. A completely out there possibility for Breitling. They have just sold about half their company. The company has quadrupled in value. There are huge amounts of cash sloshing around inside Breitling, and there is a rumor that they're aiming to go public in 3 to 4 years. It is possible that this year we'll see Breitling buy something big. I'm not going to predict it. Oh, screw it. You know what? I will. Here's my prediction. Breitling are going to do a Rolex. They are going to buy a movement manufacturer, someone like Concepto, and they are going to go all in-house in 2023. You know what? I'm almost certain to be wrong, but let's see. Okay, so let's talk about something that's not Swiss. Let's go across to Seiko. What I would predict up front is that Seiko will sell or will release at least 110 new watches to celebrate their 110th anniversary. Prediction number 2, Seiko will do precisely nothing to deal with any of the quality control or movement issues that watch geeks are raising. Seiko don't even listen to the forums where those concerns are raised, and they just do not care, and they will not do anything about it. They will do absolutely nothing about the 4 and 6R movements. They will continue to be mainstays of the brand, and that's it. That's not going to move. I do predict, however, that we will see a little bit more serious here, more SLA level watches. So these are the watches above the SBDC level, and these watches will come with either the 8L movement, which is popping up, which is routine in those SLA watches, or spring drive movements. But for those of you who are hoping for a cheap spring drive, not going to happen. Those watches will be $4,000 to $5,000 US. Sticking with Grand Seiko, the number of entry-level sub $5,000 9F quartz models will fall. I'm not saying that the quartz is going away, not saying that the 9F is going anywhere. It's a great movement. They will continue to make watches, but it will become less prevalent. Across the board, the cheaper end of, the more affordable end of Grand Seiko will continue to shrink. Conversely, the number of high beat movements with their new dual impulse escapement with prices of 8,000 Australian, $7,000 US and above will continue to increase. Every model will continue to be linked to some unique place that you can only see out of one particular window in the Grand Seiko building on a particular day of the year, and we will all continue to roll our eyes at those releases. The sports models will continue to look heavy and unwieldy, and we'll all just say that they'll never catch Rolex until they fix their sports models. We will get some sort of high complication filling the gap between the production models that we get right now and Kodo, fundamentally because, frankly, GS has no interest in becoming Rolex. They don't care about that. They're aiming at Patek. So I suspect we're going to start seeing more complications, and they're going to continue to kind of lag when it comes to sports models. Tudor will tease us all year, flirting with the idea of some sort of new, unique design direction. We'll see a niche look and a weird material or an interesting spec at some point. And for a month or so, we'll all wonder, is this the moment that Tudor is going to turn the corner and forge some exciting new direction? But in the end, the only watches they'll produce that we'll remember by the end of 2023 will be some sort of Black Bay-based Rolex homage. Longines are going to double down on the Spirit collection. And after a slow burn on introduction, I'm sensing that the Spirit collection could be massive for Longines. This could turn into their Black Bay. This could turn into a watch that fundamentally changes the direction of that brand. Until the Spirit collection, Longines had a wide array of individual heritage pieces that we loved. We loved the Heritage Diver. We loved the Big Eye Chrono. We loved the Sector Dial. But they were individual pieces that we loved, and that didn't translate to any sort of great feeling for the brand. We loved the watches, but not the brand. With the Spirit collection, I think Longines have finally got the product to turn that around. They have a flagship product that can unify sort of the feeling that we have for the brand and turn us into, or turns enough people into Longines collectors. I think that Longines will creep up in average price. I probably won't bother tracking this to confirm if I'm right or wrong, but I suspect a lot of their entry-level quartz stuff might start to vanish. I'm actually seeing some of that stuff on run out, even on the Longines website. So I think it hasn't got much longer to live. And they're going to sort of slice off the very bottom of their range and crank the rest up a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000. And that in turn will make some space for Tissot to move up in price. Which brings us to Tissot. As Longines thins out the watches in that sub $1,000 US bracket and moves up, Tissot will move more and more of their collection into that exact space. For us watch nerds, Tissot really have three collections that we care about: the classic, the sport, and the heritage. Tissot, like Longines, had a try at retro revival back in 2019 with the heritage line, but it never really got momentum. It didn't really take off. And I think that COVID might have stymied some of that. They had another go with the PRX last year, and that just caught fire. In 2023, I don't think Tissot will be ready to attack their biggest problem, the entirely forgettable generic morass of watches that is the sport collection. I think that's still a bridge too far just yet. I think that we can have another, we in the watch nerd community can have another year of just ignoring the sport collection. I think in 2023, we'll see two things. One, the PRX concept pushed even further with more options being presented on that platform. But in addition to the PRX, I think we're going to see another platform pushed forward, a renewed attempt to kickstart that heritage line. I'll put it out there. I think in 2023, we will see a heritage-inspired diver based on the old Tissot PR516. Okay, so Baume and Mercier, yes, they are still in production, and yes, they are still making watches. My prediction, that might not be true by the end of 2023, and I will be surprised if that brand is still owned by Richemont at the end of 2023. Okay, Tag Heuer, or more accurately, I think just Tag. Tag will continue to abjectly refuse to become the Heuer heritage brand so many of us watch nerds want, and they will be better off for it. We'll undoubtedly see the odd watch that comes out based on an old Heuer design, and people will love them but not buy them, and those watches will never become core, with one obvious exception of the Monaco. Instead, what we'll see is a lot more cartoon and a lot more video collabs, and people will be unsure about, and us in the community won't like, but they'll sell by the truckload. In particular, Tag doesn't have a catalog from the 60s and 70s that it can revive. It could go back to the Heuers, but as I said, they don't really like doing that except for the Monaco. So in general, Tag have proven that they're just going to jump the 60s and 70s, and their heritage revivals are going to come from the 80s and 90s. We've already seen the rebirth of an 80s inspired Formula One and an 80s and 90s inspired Aqua Racer. I predict that in 2023, we will have a re-released version of the 1980s inspired Link with a much more organic, flowing, interesting and exciting, although going to be wildly controversial, look in 2023. Okay, so you can't do a prediction video without having some stab of what you think Rolex is going to do. Rolex is stuck in a bind. It can't change, but it must have new product. With the Destro GMT Master 2, we saw the extent, the pressure that forms within the company. Can't change, must have new product. Can't change, must have new product. How do we do this? And they come up with, really weird solutions, like turning the movement upside down and making a left-handed GMT Master. I think that this year will be the year that breaks. I think that they cannot keep doing that. The Destro to me was a sign of desperation and was a sign that Rolex is really running out of wiggle room. My prediction, this will be the year that we get a mainstream. In fact, I'll cut to the chase. I think this year we will get the Milgauss won't be replaced. The Milgauss that we currently know and don't really love will cease production, and it will be re-released in titanium. RLX titanium, no less. So that's it. They're my predictions for some brands in 2023. A little bit serious, a lot not serious. What about you? What do you think is going to happen? Leave it in the comments below. I've been Pete McConville. This is what I do on this channel. If you like it, like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. If you don't, you know what? Rage click the hell out of this, downvote it. Leave comments telling me how much you hate it, and like and subscribe so that you can come back and hate all the other videos. That'll show me. Okay, have a happy new year. I look forward to seeing you all in 2023. Bye.